crazy. I told him that, and he's like, I used to run 4 a minute.
Yeah, get some stuff and then warm up for it.
Mike Tyson has once again shown why his name still carries serious weight in the boxing world. News emerging from his training camp in Las Vegas has left fans and insiders stunned. According to reports circulating behind the scenes, one of his sparring partners had to be taken to the hospital after being knocked unconscious during a training session with the 58-year-old former champion. What makes the situation even more surprising is the timing. Tyson is said to be gearing up for a possible high-profile exhibition bout against Floyd Mayweather. If the reports are accurate, it's clear that even at this stage of his life, Tyson's power inside the ring remains something to be taken very seriously.
Today, Mike is much better than he was when he fought right. So 4 years later, with 58, he's better than 54. So he saw everything right, everything wrong he did, and he fixed it. This is the beauty of the fight. The energy is good, and his energy is good. So.
If you could have fought any fighter in your life, any weight, any era, who would you have picked that you would have liked to fight the most?
Floyd Mayweather.
I love it. Why?
Huh?
You want to knock him out?
Well, I would love to fight him. I wish he was my weight.
All right, interesting answer.
Individuals familiar with the camp say the situation unfolded during what was intended to be a controlled, technical sparring workout. Tyson's team had reportedly invited a younger boxer, a fighter in his early 30s with solid professional experience, to help fine-tune certain combinations and defensive adjustments. According to those present, the session began in routine fashion. Both men were equipped with headgear, and the early rounds were described as measured and tactical. For the first few exchanges, the pace stayed moderate, with an emphasis on timing, positioning, and ring awareness rather than power.
You! Again, mark the cross. We are aiming to the touch your guard, but cross. Beautiful.
However, things reportedly took a sudden turn. According to witnesses, the younger fighter landed a solid jab that connected cleanly with Tyson's nose. It wasn't a foul or an aggressive move, just a routine punch exchanged during regular sparring. But those in attendance say the impact seemed to spark an immediate shift in Tyson's energy. One observer described it as an instant transformation, as if something deep inside him was triggered. His body language changed, his focus sharpened, and the atmosphere in the gym grew tense. Several people present claimed it was like watching a flash of the Tyson from decades ago reappear without warning.
Distance! Brother! Nice distance. Hey, bro. Nice one, Mike. Nice one, Mike. Bro. Nice one, Mike.
That's when the session reportedly escalated in a way no one anticipated. According to several accounts, Tyson suddenly began throwing punches with far more intensity than anyone expected from what was supposed to be controlled sparring. Witnesses claim he unleashed a sharp combination that landed with startling force, instantly shifting the mood inside the gym. The younger fighter allegedly attempted to tie him up and slow things down, looking to weather the storm. But those present say Tyson calmly created a bit of separation, reset his feet, and fired a crushing shot to the midsection before snapping a powerful uppercut up the middle. The impact was described as devastating. The sparring partner collapsed heavily to the canvas, and some in attendance believe he was already unconscious before he even hit the floor. Several observers mentioned that the sound of the punch reverberated throughout the facility, leaving everyone momentarily stunned. For a brief moment, the gym fell into complete silence. Then trainers and team members rushed forward to attend to the downed fighter. One person familiar with the situation later described it as one of the most intense scenes they had witnessed in a sparring session in years.
Better to the body.
You right, coach?
Mike, Baby, need 10 seconds. Put 10 seconds there.
Good shit.
Medical personnel were reportedly present at the facility, as is typical for high-level training camps. However, according to those familiar with the situation, the response quickly escalated when it became clear the downed fighter was not reacting as expected. An ambulance was allegedly called after he remained unresponsive for a concerning stretch of time. Accounts suggest he was out for several minutes, and even once he regained consciousness, he appeared confused and unable to clearly recall what had just taken place. As a precaution, the team decided to have him transported to a hospital for a thorough examination to ensure there were no serious injuries. What adds another layer to the story is how Tyson reportedly reacted afterward. Individuals connected to the camp claim that he appeared deeply unsettled once the reality of the knockout set in. Rather than brushing it off, Tyson is said to have remained at the gym long after the paramedics departed, sitting quietly and reflecting on the incident. One insider shared that while Tyson has always been aware of his punching power, even he seemed taken aback by the level of force he can still produce at 58. The moment reportedly left him thoughtful, perhaps even surprised, at just how much of that old intensity remains. Concern quickly grew regarding the sparring partner's health. Initial updates indicated that he was undergoing tests for a possible concussion and was kept at the hospital overnight for monitoring. According to people briefed on the situation, he was later discharged, though medical staff reportedly advised him to avoid any form of contact training for several weeks as a precaution. One individual familiar with the evaluation claimed the doctors were surprised that a man approaching 60 could still produce that level of explosive force. The episode has reportedly stirred intense discussion throughout the boxing world for several reasons. First, it reinforces the belief that Tyson's punching power, the trait that defined much of his career, hasn't simply faded with time. Second, it has sparked renewed debate about what a potential exhibition between him and Floyd Mayweather might actually look like if it materializes. And third, the story has allegedly caused some prospective sparring partners to think twice before stepping into the ring with him, regardless of the paycheck. As reactions began pouring in, several professional fighters shared their thoughts. Terrence Crawford, who has reportedly been around Tyson's camp while he prepares for the possible showdown with Mayweather, offered noteworthy remarks during a recent interview. Crawford explained that Tyson's strength is difficult to fully grasp unless you've felt it firsthand. He pointed out that seeing Tyson work the heavy bag is impressive on its own, but experiencing the impact of his punches, even during controlled drills, is an entirely different reality.
I don't I don't know what's going to happen with a 135 pounder going up against a 200 pounder. Dude is big. He's not as slow as people think he is, and he can punch.
Shawn Porter also weighed in, sharing his thoughts on social media shortly after the story began circulating. According to Porter, the situation supports a point he's made repeatedly over the years, that punching power is usually the final attribute to decline in a fighter's career. He emphasized that Tyson's strength was extraordinary even among heavyweights during his peak years. Porter suggested that if Tyson can still produce that kind of impact against a seasoned professional in his 30s during controlled sparring, it naturally raises questions about what might happen in an exhibition scenario. He pointed out that Floyd Mayweather built his legacy competing in lighter divisions, where the dynamics of power are vastly different from the heavyweight class.
How do you analyze what a fight between Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather could look like, right? So then you think about when Floyd got in the ring with Big Show, we already know, like we know now more than we've ever known before that the WWE is fake. It's kind of like acceptable, but it wouldn't be acceptable in a boxing ring. You know, it wouldn't be acceptable if there becomes some sort of weird antics and things like that.
Andre Ward offered a more measured response during his appearance on ESPN. While he agreed that Tyson's power remains a serious factor, Ward cautioned against reading too much into what happened in a sparring session. He explained that a potential exhibition against Floyd Mayweather would present an entirely different challenge. Ward pointed out that Mayweather's career was built on defensive mastery, positioning, timing, anticipation, and an almost unmatched ability to avoid clean shots. According to Ward, there's a significant difference between catching a sparring partner during gym work and landing that same kind of punch on a fighter widely regarded as one of the most defensively skilled boxers in history. In his view, the incident highlights Tyson's strength, but it doesn't automatically translate to success against someone whose entire style revolves around minimizing risk and controlling distance.
Don't have the energy to move the way that he did before. You could get a more entertaining fight. You can get more of a back and forth scrap, which is what a lot of people wanted. And it's not a guarantee that this fight goes the distance, given these guys' age and where their punch resistance are, where their current punch resistance is, and you don't know.
Tim Bradley took a more analytical approach while discussing the situation on his program. He broke down the mechanics behind the combination Tyson reportedly threw: a punch to the body, followed by a sharp uppercut, noting that it's widely considered one of the most punishing sequences in the sport when timed properly. Bradley explained that attacking the body first can draw a fighter's guard downward, creating a brief opening up the middle. He added that while Floyd Mayweather's signature shoulder roll defense has neutralized countless opponents, no system is completely flawless. In certain moments, especially if the rhythm and distance are just right, that specific body-to-uppercut sequence could present challenges. Bradley went on to suggest that if Tyson has been deliberately sharpening that combination in camp, possibly with input from Terrence Crawford, it might serve as a strategic tool should the exhibition with Mayweather actually happen.
Exhibitions, you know, Mayweather's he's still a killer, man, for real. Yeah, he still got it. So why not share the ring with Terrence Crawford, man? You know, you still got it. I know you can still go those rounds. Yeah, you still work hard too. You still in shape, champ. Get that money, man. That's what you about. Money Mayweather. Make it happen. Bring it to the reality, right?
Fighters from the heavyweight ranks have also been following the story closely. Deontay Wilder shared that he wasn't shocked by the reports at all. In his view, true heavyweight power is a different breed altogether, and Tyson has always been regarded as one of the most explosive punchers the division has ever produced. Wilder pointed out that even if age slows reaction time and overall speed, raw strength, especially the kind Tyson possessed, doesn't simply vanish. He even remarked that it would be more surprising if Tyson couldn't still hurt someone. Tyson Fury offered his reaction during a press conference, bringing his usual sense of humor into the discussion. Fury suggested that Tyson's ability to hit that hard at 58 is proof that certain physical gifts are simply ingrained from birth. He joked that no amount of money would convince him to spar with Tyson at this stage, saying it wouldn't be worth the risk of being knocked out in a training session that doesn't even go on the official record. David Haye also provided a more technical perspective, drawing from his own experience with heavyweight power. Haye explained that many fighters see their knockout ability fade over time because their hand speed declines, limiting the force they can generate. However, he noted that Tyson's punching effectiveness was never solely dependent on quickness. It stemmed from precise mechanics, strong leverage, balance, and natural physical strength working together. According to Hay, even if Tyson's speed has diminished, his understanding of positioning and leverage may still allow him to produce fight-altering impact.
It was either Mike Tyson's knocking you out, one of the two. It was never a fight that I can remember where it was Tyson, oh yeah, Tyson's having a trouble, he's having a problem, and he brings it back round. At the moment he started to lose, or it started to get tough, it seemed to go the other way.
So what does all of this mean for a possible showdown with Floyd Mayweather? The narrative around that matchup has definitely shifted since these reports surfaced. Prior to this incident, the majority of analysts leaned strongly toward Mayweather, pointing to his technical brilliance, ring IQ, and defensive precision as decisive advantages. His ability to control distance and avoid clean shots was widely viewed as the key factor that would neutralize any threat. However, the recent developments have sparked a new layer of debate. There's now a serious discussion about whether Tyson's raw punching power, even at this stage of his life, introduces an element of risk that can't simply be dismissed. While skill and defense remain critical components, some observers believe that the possibility of one perfectly timed punch from a heavyweight like Tyson changes the overall equation in a meaningful way. Paulie Malignaggi, who has long studied and understood Floyd's style, shared an interesting perspective during a recent podcast appearance. He admitted that the reported sparring episode has made him reconsider his level of certainty about the outcome. Malignaggi clarified that he still believes Mayweather's movement, timing, and defensive awareness would likely allow him to control the pace and outmaneuver Tyson over the course of an exhibition. In his view, Floyd's ability to make opponents miss and dictate range remains a major advantage. That said, he also conceded there's a variable that can't be ignored. If Tyson truly retains the kind of explosive power being described, one clean connection could instantly alter the entire dynamic. Malignaggi pointed out that while Mayweather retired without ever suffering a knockout defeat, he also never faced a puncher built quite like Tyson, someone whose reputation was forged on heavyweight-level force capable of ending a contest in a single moment.
You've still seen, regardless of what you think about his athletic ability and his boxing ability, you still see what happens when he lands a punch on somebody. He's still a strong guy. Mike Tyson is still 58, no matter what you think of him. A 58 years old brain. Tyson doesn't have that crazy head movement that he had in his youth. First of all, that's an energy-burning style. At 58 years old, you're not pulling that style off. Tyson didn't even have that style in his mid-30s when he was almost at retirement age. He was already not moving his head like that.
Stephen A. Smith delivered a passionate reaction during a segment on First Take. He argued that the recent reports highlight a level of risk that makes the potential matchup far more serious than many initially assumed. Smith emphasized that exhibition bouts are typically structured to be controlled and relatively safe, more about entertainment than genuine danger. However, he questioned whether that expectation holds if Tyson is still capable of producing knockout-level power in sparring against active professionals. According to Smith, if there's even a small chance Tyson could land a clean shot, the consequences might be significant. He suggested that Mayweather should carefully weigh the potential downside, implying that the physical risk involved could outweigh whatever financial or promotional upside the event might bring.
And then you saw the knee brace on, and you just saw the way he was moving. If you watch Mike Tyson, I mean, think about all the Mike Tyson fights we've seen. Think about the movement, the head movement, you know, the foot movement, etc. And then to see that and to know that he's 31 years older than you, literally approaching 60 years of age, I think to see it in front of his face at that moment, it hit.
Max Kellerman offered a contrasting opinion during the broadcast. In his view, the recent sparring controversy actually adds fuel to the fire and makes a potential showdown even more intriguing. According to Max, the real attraction lies in the unknown. Fans are eager to find out whether Floyd's masterful defense could completely shut down Tyson's raw punching power, or if Tyson might accomplish what no opponent has managed and score a knockout over Money Mayweather. That unpredictability, he argued, is exactly what drives interest. Following reports of the gym incident, betting markets reportedly adjusted. Several offshore sportsbooks are said to have tweaked their odds, narrowing the gap and giving Tyson slightly better chances than before. Odds makers noted an uptick in wagers backing Tyson, largely because bettors are drawn to the possibility of a dramatic knockout. The reasoning is straightforward. If Tyson can overwhelm a younger fighter in sparring, some believe he carries the ability to seriously damage anyone if he connects cleanly. Roy Jones Jr., who shared the ring with Tyson in an exhibition bout, added his perspective. Roy emphasized that Tyson's punching power felt authentic and intimidating, even in a controlled setting where both men were holding back. He recalled moments when Tyson briefly unleashed combinations that carried undeniable force. From Roy's standpoint, stories about Tyson's lingering power are entirely believable because he experienced it firsthand. Tyson's current trainer, Rafael Garcia, addressed the topic cautiously during a gym interview. He pointed out that mishaps in sparring are not uncommon in boxing. They're unfortunate but part of the sport's reality. At the same time, Garcia highlighted Tyson's continued strength and conditioning, noting that his physical gifts, disciplined training, and refined technique allow him to remain dangerous whenever he throws a punch. The situation has also reignited debate about the structure of a possible exhibition match. Some observers are advocating for tighter restrictions on punching intensity to ensure safety. Others counter that too many limitations would take away from what fans actually want to see: a competitive and authentic contest. Reports suggest both teams are discussing safeguards, though neither side wants the event to feel staged or overly restrained. Teddy Atlas provided one of the more measured breakdowns. He acknowledged that Tyson's power still appears formidable, which is both impressive and potentially risky. However, Atlas stressed that connecting with Floyd Mayweather is an entirely different challenge compared to landing on a sparring partner. He explained that Mayweather's likely strategy would involve constant lateral movement, controlling distance, and forcing Tyson to miss repeatedly until fatigue becomes a factor. In Atlas's view, the key question isn't simply whether Tyson can hurt Mayweather, it's whether he can catch him cleanly at all. That wraps up this update. For more coverage of major stories, key moments, and developments across the boxing world, be sure to follow our channel and enable notifications so you don't miss future content. See you next time.